Good evening and welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Adrian Ellis.
And I'm Chloe Thaler. An AU alert was sent out early this afternoon to report a gas leak. The leak apparently sprung at the intersection of Thatch and South College by Chapel.
Crews worked to repair and contain the leak throughout the afternoon as students and residents were advised to avoid the area. An AU clear was issued around 2:18 p.m.
Last Wednesday, more than 4,000 donors helped fund 40 campus-wide projects on Tiger Giving Day. This year marked the 5th annual return for Tiger Giving Day and featured projects that benefited students, faculty, research, and the community.
33 of the 40 projects met their full fundraising goal, with the remaining achieving over 75% of their goals, a new record for Tiger Giving Day. All projects and their updates can be viewed at tigergiving.org. Mardi Gras has arrived on the plains. The annual Cru de Tigres parade was Saturday, February 22nd, and Eagle Eye was there to cover all the fun.
The annual Cru de Tigres Mardi Gras parade was this Saturday, February 22nd, and was off to a rounding success. There was tons of people, tons of floats, and of course, tons of beads.
See all of our community come together, not just Auburn, we see Opelika, we see Lee County, everybody comes out and has a great time.
I'm here with Hunter and we're having a wonderful time. Hunter, what was your favorite part about the parade?
The hats.
You really liked them throwing out the hats?
Yeah.
Did you collect a lot of beads?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, we're glad that you came out.
The fight against the proposed granite quarry in Opelika continues as state officials have ordered a public hearing regarding the discharge permit proposed by the Creekwood Company. The Department of Environmental Management said that they have determined a public hearing is necessary as a result of requests received by the department during the public notice period for the draft permit. Creekwood must pay a public hearing fee of $8,450 before the hearing date is set.
The United States Navy Band will perform a free concert at the Jay and Susie Googe Performing Arts Center on March 13th at 7:30 p.m. The Navy Band is the flagship musical organization of the United States Navy and has been performing concerts and participating in events for more than 95 years. Based in Washington, D.C., the Navy Band consists of full-time professional musicians who are also enlisted Navy sailors. Almost all the sailors in the band also have a degree in music. The concert at the Googe is free and open to the public, but tickets are required for admission. To reserve seats, visit www.googecentertickets.auburn.edu.
Also at last Tuesday's meeting, the Auburn City Council approved an expansion to Sky Bar. The expansion has been proposed for 2 meetings prior and was postponed until now. Based on the renderings shown in the e-packet for the meeting, the expansion will include adding a 3rd floor to the building, mainly for extra storage and additional bathrooms on the 2nd floor. Other additions coming to the 2nd floor of the building will include a new concrete deck, a waterfall, and a fire fountain.
The green space looked colorful this week as the Black Student Union celebrated its Unity project with an impressive interactive art installation. Students took yarn to the poles that had different identifiers on them. The poles in the middle, of course, says, "I am part of the Auburn family." BSU Director of Outreach Trinity Thomas told us why the event is so important to students.
I think it's important so that you gain an appreciation for the identities around you more so. So it's basically just to make us have an appreciation for each other and show us that yes, we do have differences, but there's also a lot of things we have in common too.
Volunteers from the Auburn community came together to clean up one of the oldest African American slave cemeteries. Eagle Eye's own Lainey Mayfield was on the scene.
Reef blowers, rakes, and chainsaws were in use this past Saturday as volunteers from the Auburn community came together to clean the Baptist Hill Cemetery. The Baptist Hill Cemetery is the first separate black slave cemetery and holds a host of rich history and is the resting place of unsung heroes and sheroes. Conditions of the cemetery have declined over the years. This has urged citizens in the community to take matters into their own hands. Auburn University's Human Development Family Studies lecturer Robert Bubb coordinated the event and expressed why it is beneficial for the community to come together to restore the cemetery's conditions.
It's important for us to come out here and remember those who have come before us, those who here in Auburn, whose families have been here since Auburn was established, those who endured enslavement, those who endured sharecropping, those who have endured segregation and Jim Crow laws and black codes, and those that have served and died for our country.
The conditions of the Baptist Hill Cemetery have been alarming to some more than others.
And to me, it's very, very important to clean up the Baptist Hill Cemetery because my great-grandfather is buried over here, Dowdell Carter Sr., and for a long period of time here in Auburn, this is one of the first places that African Americans could be buried at. So to preserve our heritage and to be proud of the sacrifices they made for us, I feel like it means a lot, and I wouldn't take it for granted to be able to come out here and to clean up on these Saturdays when we were able to.
The family of the deceased have authorized and encouraged residents in the community to join them as they actively restore conditions. In the name of community service, volunteers in the Auburn community decided to give back in an extraordinary way. Robert Bubb wanted to give a special thanks to Auburn's Park and Recreation for providing trucks and for scheduling debris pickups. Organizations such as Prince Hall Freemasonry and RPAS volunteer at the event. If you know anyone or are interested on how to volunteer or get involved, you can email Robert Bubb at robert.r.bubb@gmail.com.
We'll be back with more after this.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye Sports. I'm Mackenzie Collins. Auburn basketball came off their weekend heading into Auburn Arena Tuesday night to take on Ole Miss. Eagle Eye was there to bring you the story.
The Ole Miss Rebels have been somewhat of tiger killers here in Auburn Arena, winning 5 of their past 6 games here on the road. Auburn, on the other hand, is looking to continue their undefeated streak here at home. It was another sold-out crowd at the Auburn Arena Tuesday night, and they were treated to the return of Isaac Okoro. His presence was felt early and often, with Bruce Pearl citing just how much he was missed.
It gives us a fighting chance against the best teams on our schedule.
Samir Dowdy had 14 points to go along with his all-around performance. Auburn as a team had 12 assists, and with Jalen Williams dishing it out like this, there's no surprise that the Tigers would come out on top. Dowdy would lead all players with a game-high 4 assists. Now, back to Williams. The athletic freak showed off his bounciness numerous times, flying high in the air for a putback dunk and an alley-oop. The clog in the middle of the lane that is Austin Wiley racked up another double-double, making it part of his daily routine right after brushing his teeth. He finished with 15 points and 11 rebounds, his 12th double-double of the season. Now, even though Auburn did not trail once for the entire game, Ole Miss was hanging around after back-to-back triples by Blake Henson and Bryce Williams. And after 2 made free throws by KJ Buffon, the lead was cut to 4 with just under 4 minutes to go. However, Wiley could not be stopped in the paint as Dowdy sets him up beautifully for the score to put the game out of reach for good. And as Okoro's long-awaited return, the projected top 5 draft pick in this year's upcoming NBA draft dropped 10 points in 27 minutes. The real story, however, was big man Austin Wiley, who had yet another double-double making this routine, dropping 15 points and getting 11 rebounds. Auburn's next opponent will be the Kentucky Wildcats on the road. Tip-off is slated for 2:45 this Saturday on CBS. Reporting from the Auburn Arena, my name is Tim Humphrey, Eagle Eye.
Be sure to follow our website, Twitter, and Instagram for all the newest Auburn sports updates. I'm Mackenzie Collins. We'll be back with more news after this.
Auburn's Black Student Union hosts its annual Jazz and Poetry Night. Eagle Eye TV was there to learn more.
Auburn University's Black Student Union hosted their annual Jazz and Poetry Night, and this year's theme was the Roaring 20s.
The Black Student Union continued their celebration of Black History Month with a Roaring 20s theme for Jazz and Poetry Night. Students and members of the organization danced and mingled together for a celebration of fellowship and unity. R&B bands sold out performed classic hits that brought the students onto the dance floor to show off their best moves. BSU's Vice President of Programs, Jalen Sanders, spoke with Eagle Eye to discuss the importance of Jazz and Poetry Night and why he chose to be a leader with BSU.
I've been involved with BSU since a freshman. I started off on freshman committee and worked my way up to the position I'm in now, which is Vice President of Programs. And really, the family and relationships that I have made throughout BSU have really solidified my place with them and why I actually joined. Jazz and Poetry Night is basically a talent showcase, and the history and significance of it is basically to showcase that Black students at Auburn have so many great abilities, talents, and things that make them unique, and we just want to showcase it to Auburn as well as to our peers. So any way we can get that out into the public and showcase it is great.
BSU's next and last event will be tomorrow in Foy Auditorium from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. This is Kennedy Gooden reporting for Eagle Eye TV.
The Auburn City Council approved an ordinance prohibiting the construction of purpose-built student housing for 90 days at its meeting last Tuesday. The ordinance, effective immediately, restricts the construction of private dorms and academic detached units within the Auburn city limits. The ordinance cites that Auburn University's Board of Trustees' decision to limit undergraduate enrollment to 25,000 students as a reason to halt the construction of housing. The council requested that the city's planning department research and review student housing to determine what further actions, if any, needs to be taken to ensure there is not an overabundance of student housing in Auburn. If the developer has received a foundation permit, they may still continue or begin construction. This includes construction such as 320 West Magnolia and Uncommon Auburn, which are currently under construction.
The Auburn Tigers hosted the Coaching for Literacy Fight for Literacy Games this past Wednesday, February 25th, when the University of Mississippi visited the Auburn Arena. The initiative brings coaches, players, and fans together for a common cause to use the power of sports to raise awareness about illiteracy and raise funds for literacy programs nationwide. The partnership with Auburn University, now in its second year, provides financial support to the Office of Professional and Continuing Education Summer Reading Program. This year, the effort has raised over $4,500 through corporate sponsorships and fan pledges.
A Senate Judiciary Committee passed a medical marijuana bill for the state of Alabama last Wednesday morning. The bill would regulate the production and sale of medical marijuana and would allow people with certain medical conditions to have access to it. These are 15 qualifying conditions mentioned in the bill, some of which include epilepsy, Crohn's disease, and chronic pain. The bill would allow qualifying individuals to receive a card from the Medical Cannabis Commission and set up 34 dispensaries across the state. In order to receive a card, the individual would need to register with the commission and receive approval from a qualifying physician.
Don't be coy, we know you want to meet this cute pup. This week's pet of the week is Koi. This 4-year-old boy loves to be in your lap as much as possible and is always wanting a treat or two. He enjoys belly rubs and chin scratches and would be the best to snuggle with on a rainy day. Koi is neutered, vaccinated, microchipped, and has recently been treated for heartworms. Come by this week and meet the pup who can steal your heart with just one look.
We'll be back with more after this. You're watching Eagle Eye TV, Auburn's news leader.
The primary election is next week, and in addition to voting in candidate primaries for the presidency and Senate, Alabamians will have an opportunity to vote on a new amendment.
There's a new amendment up for voting in this year's primary election. Titled Amendment 1, this new amendment would rename the State Board of Education to the Alabama Commission on Elementary and Secondary Education. Currently, the State Board is elected and the superintendent is appointed by the board. Alabama is one of 11 states that elects their school boards, and one of 6 where the board then appoints the superintendent. Other states include Michigan and Utah. The new amendment would change the board from being elected by voters to being appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. The title of the State Superintendent of Education would also be changed to the Secretary of Elementary and Secondary Education. The new amendment would align Alabama with 12 other states, including Kentucky, Florida, and Arkansas. If this amendment passes, it would be the 947th amendment to the Alabama Constitution, which is already the longest constitution in the nation. The amendment is one of the big talking points of Governor Kay Ivey's State of the State address. She states, "We've become too complacent on being at or near the bottom of national education rankings." Citing the nation's report card, Alabama is 49th in terms of reading and 52nd in terms of math. Governor Ivey claims too many of our high school graduates simply aren't ready for college or a career, and has high hopes that the new amendment will improve education in Alabama. As votes come in, Eagle Eye will keep you informed on whether this amendment passes or not.
Tune back into Eagle Eye News on March 3rd when we have our primary election show to find out if the new amendment will be passed.
That's all we have for you tonight. Keep up with all of the latest Auburn news throughout the week by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Eagle Eye TV. I'm Chloe Thaler.
And I'm Adrian Ellis. Thanks for joining us in War Eagle.